Well, good day, folks. Welcome back to the channel. It's been a long absence, mostly January and February. We just had too much snow for Ralphie to get out in the woodlot with. And then, late February,
early March, you got out.
early March, I started getting back out again and been out on a regular basis every day since.
But I haven't.
Unfortunately, videographers decided to take an extended holiday, and you know, we
Well,
didn't
it
get
wasn't exactly a vacation. I had sciatica for a while and wasn't feeling kind of up to stomping around the rough wood. Then my mother was ill for a bit, so hopefully everything's sorted itself out and we're back.
So, can't really recapture 2 whole months, but just maybe touch some of the areas we've been working in, and
I like how he says we.
What?
I said I like how you say we. Thank you.
You're welcome. So this, where we're standing, is 5 acres that's been cut off from the woodlot for our own personal residence, but we still treat it very similar to the woodlot in that we're attempting to restore the major Acadian species and you know, make it more adaptable for climate change. So in here we do have a number of young oak saplings that I've mostly cleared over in this area a bit, but we also have some seedlings that I thought needed to get some more sunlight, and 1 or 2 planted. No, they weren't planted. They were native pine, because we have a white pine just close here too.
Yep, this is just out back of our own house.
Yeah, and so anyhow, just been doing some cutting, and I'll probably have to get in and skid these logs out at some point. These are basically white spruce. White spruce, and white spruce. Because this again, this was is recovering farmland,
pasture land probably out here.
Yeah, so it has a lot of the typical recovering farmland characteristics: poplar and white spruce, and some fir. And you know,
and we're starting to get a few other.
Yeah, between some planting that we've done and some natural regeneration, because we do have probably the largest oak on the property, on the whole woodlot, is on our property.
Right beside our house.
And so he's been doing a very decent job of populating young oak seedlings around. And we do have a rather scruffy white pine, because he's probably been hit a number of times with the pine weevil, so he's
not pretty, but he's quite prolific.
Yes. And let's face it, I mean, that ultimately is what we want.
Yes.
Is the seed source and the reproduction, and you know,
and he's doing a fine job.
And he's doing a fine job of that. We're just not going to enter him into any beauty contests.
Those are passé anyway, dear.
True. Maybe not for trees.
Maybe not for trees. Yeah. If you're from the New Brunswick area, there's a couple of books have come out, The Great Trees of New Brunswick, and then the 2nd edition of it. So.
Yeah.
But they're not specifically for beauty either. Size and longevity.
Well, yeah, size, longevity, yes. All right, so let's just
take a meander.
Wander down here a bit. So this is some of the regeneration we're trying to protect.
And encourage.
Have to take out this spruce. And unfortunately, there's an oak right in around here too, but can't see them because the leaves aren't out yet. But just as proof,
Yeah, I know there is one right in there.
there is a leaf, and a couple of oak are in through here too. So I think we now have enough sunlight in here. I can probably leave this white spruce. There's a popple, and there's another white spruce right here. But I think there's enough sunlight for
Looks
everything
pretty open.
to be productive.
This little area actually has quite a variety because there's a couple of beech in here too. And
Just
again,
one beech, I think.
is there just one? But again, it's
Yeah.
something we don't have a lot of on the woodlot.
So we still got a couple of little,
Couple of last year's leaves still hanging on.
yeah. Yeah, this time of year, if you go out and you see something that still has leaves retaining on it, it's likely going to be either beech or oak
In this area, yeah.
in this area. And it's a great time. Like I notice driving along the road, all these young beech and they just show up like nothing because none of the other trees
It's
have
the only
any
thing with leaves.
on them. Yeah, and there they are. They're old and brown, but they're there. We'll move on.
What, ran out of gas?
No, I'm going to clear off the seat for you.
Aw. So the branches you see hanging over Ralphie, right off there to the right, that is the big oak. And you can probably see in behind him is the not pretty but prolific pine tree. So we have this little area right beside the house that's actually a good nursery space, and periodically we'll go along and dig some of the little seedlings up and redistribute them out into the woodlot. I haven't had much opportunity to do any yet this spring. I'm hoping sometime this month to get out and do some. All right, what are we going to look at here?
We're going to look at Mother Nature doing our hard work for us.
Okay, let's see what you're talking about.
So we're in a part of the woodlot where there's a considerable amount of red spruce. It's about 40% by volume in our woodlot management plan. And so we want to try and diversify some of that, of course. So we have a little baby pine here, and there's a very large, probably 20-inch or so, red spruce.
Right next to him.
Providing very heavy shade for this area. And somewhere right around my feet, we also have a red oak that would also need to get more sunlight. So I came out during the winter time, looked around, considered trying which way I could get this tree to fall.
Without taking out anything important.
Exactly. If I send them in that direction, well, we have
That's the road.
a 4-foot hemlock,
Well, and also the road.
which is our largest hemlock we have on the property. So that
That's out.
over in that direction, there was a yellow birch that was being impacted. So anyhow, I mulled around and I hadn't come to any real conclusion as to what I was going to do with this large red spruce, other than I did prefer it to be out of the way. So I'm coming out through here the other day, and lo and behold, I looked around, and Mother Nature blew the top right off of this big red spruce. Take a look up there. Put it down in a spot where, as far as I know, did no significant damage to anything.
So was that a spot you had considered dropping them into?
Actually, I don't think so, no. I forget now why I didn't want to particularly go in that direction, but so there was obviously, well, there's 2 forks in that top. And so what happened, of course, they grew together, the moisture and that got in there.
Got down in
They
between.
rotted, and it didn't take much of a wind to just basically blow it all apart. But anyhow, now the total rest of the tree that's standing is branchless. It's perfectly exposed now, just as if I cut it down. The only further decision I have now is, would there be a nice salvageable log in that remaining part of the tree?
Or do we leave them for the owls and the squirrels and the
Exactly.
whatever?
My guess is that there is probably a good log in there. And my guess is, unless I really, really needed it, which is not likely,
You'll just leave it be.
we'll just let it be. Yep.
Yeah.
Let it be because we have a fair amount of dead wood within the woodlot area. What we don't have, and miss quite desperately for a lot of its values, is we don't have
Any large deadwood.
particularly when you get up into the kind of 20-inch size, which is what you need if you want to house owls and raccoons and so on. So, yeah,
It'll probably just stay there.
I was worrying and pondering of how I was going to accomplish something, and just
Mother Nature took care of it for
Mother
you.
Nature, yep, and did a heck of a job.
Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you, Mother Nature. We'll move on.
I'll get a better shot of what's left of the tree. How high is what's left there, Michael? 20 feet?
Yeah, I'd say roughly 20 feet.
Yeah.
This is a spot I was working at during the winter time, and this had been commercially thinned back in 2016. But when they are commercially thinning like that, they work quickly. They don't have time to look at all of the tree complexity and what. So their direction was basically cut out fir, white and gray birch, and white spruce if it was available. And that's what they do. And they don't try and necessarily eliminate all of the white birch, because it could be close to a desirable tree, and they don't want to create the damage of trying to take it down. Because again, they work quickly because that's how they make money. So what I've been doing in a number of these areas is coming in and doing a little more refined work, because I can take however long I want to say, okay, this tree, look at its condition, wander around, look at the stump, look at what's regenerating on the ground, and take 20 minutes or sometimes 2 days to ponder and make a decision on what
That
I'm
sometimes
going to
Mother Nature makes for you.
do. Exactly. So this is just an example. This was mostly dead red maple, and I was just thinning out this maple a bit. I can see there's a couple of large white birch that could possibly also be brought down, because there's a gray birch there that
A gray birch?
or yellow birch.
A yellow
sorry.
birch, yeah. I didn't think you were trying to say gray birch.
No. Yeah, there's one on this side and one on the other side of those two trees, so they could quite easily be taken down, and because they're not well adapted for climate change. And so that's what we do from spot to spot. And in case you don't notice by the end of this, I like to move around a lot. I'm not sure why. Basically, the work
Itchy
is the
feet.
same, but I work in an area for a week or a couple of weeks, and I think, oh, this is boring. Like I want something different, some new excitement.
New trees to look at.
Yeah. And so I move, rather than spend bunches and bunches of time in one little spot. I like.
So, in other words, you have about 16 projects at the same time, none of which ever get finished.
That's it. That's exactly it.
Gotcha.
Nice description.
Cool.
Well, but again, right? This is a 1,000-year project. I expect to have many projects that aren't going to get completed
That's right. So
in my time.
you get them all started, and then Mother Nature can take over if nobody else is available.
Well, that's right. Yep. We're just trying to help Mother Nature. I think this would be one of our last videos done out in the woodlot itself.
Late last year before Christmas.
Freeing up this beech tree. So I have been back in recently to clean up some of the wood that never got hauled out before the heavy snows came. And then we'll go through from here, I think, and put a trail in a little further to just do a little more work in this area.
Take it down into this section a bit.
Or, who knows, I may not be back here for 6 years or
6 months or
whatever. This is very close to where we had just been at the previous location, and so the the mechanics are basically the same. There's quite a lot of fir in here. Again, this has been commercially harvested back at the same time, but in here is a swath that was never touched.
yeah.
They did trails down on either side, but this here was not touched directly itself, and so
Well, and it had a lot of cedar and
well, we have cedar throughout most of the woodlot.
no, that's true. So how come this spot was kind of left alone?
Well, that's a good question. I wasn't the operator, so
Okay, so it wasn't by request.
so yeah, so we've got some nice red maple, and there's some healthy red spruce in here. That's a beauty, red maple, that big guy. Fair bit of cedar,
Quite a bit of cedar in through there, but
and
there's
of course lots of fir and some white birch to cut out. But we'll just thin it here and there.
thin, yeah, take out some of that birch and fir. The usual. What did you spy?
Oh well, just somebody got a lot of value out of this tree.
Oh,
And it's pretty small. It's probably no more than 6 inches. But yeah, it's dead trees like this. I never remove them unless I'm actually falling a tree that is going to take them out anyhow, because you don't like stuff ricocheting around. So I would take it down if I was going to cut out that yellow birch. But I'm
but
not
you're
cutting out that
unlikely
yellow-
to cut a yellow birch.
No, I'm not. So, yeah.
I know you can tell what type of woodpecker by the shape of the hole, but I can't.
Nope, not me. I'm lucky to identify the tree. Well, and all the little critters. Well, it's been a great day out here in the woodlot. Beautiful day, sunny, warm. Anyhow, hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for joining us. Please, if you like this, subscribe, hit the little notification bell, comment, like. Really like to hear from you. And stay safe.
Catch you next time, guys.